Um, Let me just define interview techniques to you. So interview techniques is the method, is the tricks, is the tips, the secrets of passing interviews and just not making you the best candidate, but the most favorable and likable candidate. And sorry, let me go through. I am not just a candidate.
I'm not just a candidate.
I'm the embodiment of potential.
I'm the embodiment of potential.
Ready to transform each interview into a stepping stone towards my career goals.
Ready to transform each interview into a stepping stone towards my career goals.
I shall succeed in every interview and every mail I receive afterwards will be accepted and congratulations.
I shall succeed in every interview and every mail I receive afterwards will be accepted and congratulations.
Now, so do you know the importance of this self-mantra? The reason is that no matter how well you prepare for an interview, I don't know if you have felt that way, but immediately you just see it 5 minutes more for the interview, you're already nervous, you're already shaking. Like, what if I say the wrong thing like this? Hey God, what if I fail? What if I maybe the person does not like me? Or what if I don't know, something just goes wrong? And then that self-doubt creeps in on you. And then all the things you are prepared for, you go into that interview and then you are blank, you are stammering, you are stuttering. Then something goes wrong, your internet now fails out, you are being logged out, you are being coming, you're not frustrated, like you're going to have a bad day. But you see, one thing about life in general and even in interviews is positivity and speaking things before anything happens. And that's why it's important for self-mantra, so it's important for you being positive before an interview, because it works. People say, okay, why is it more spiritual? No, it's not about spirituality, it's about how the universe works. If you predict a bad day will happen to you. But when you speak things into okay, I'm good, this is not it, I'm going to kill it. You go there, you're already feeling so confident. Even the interviewer will be shaking, this person, what is doing this person? And then you see yourself saying amazing things in that interview. Okay, so the topics we're going to be discussing today is mastering interviews and preparation, the power of a compelling story in interviews, the mirror, match, and model technique, the likability factor, conquering the interview fears, and the confidence boosting technique. Remember I said that this section is not the usual research. It's going to give you the secret, the deep things about interviews. So our first topic is mastering interviews and preparation. So, mastering interviews, right? People think having the best resume, putting your achievement, best cover letter will get you into the job. No. Your cover letter, very good cover letter, gets you to the gateway. But what gets you to the job is interviews. And the way to master interviews is by knowing the cornerstone, the backstage on how to create a lasting impression during interviews. Now, these are steps to master interview. Number one, research and know your audience. So most people don't do this, but whenever you have an interview, it's important for you to know who your interviewer is. That helps a lot because okay, I'm going to get to this stage, the next mirror and match technique. I'm going to give you a story about this research and know your audience. I had my third remote interview when I was looking for remote jobs back in 2022, 21. It was a very, very big, very amazing company. The very, very amazing remote company. And my interviewer, she sent me her name, obviously. I went to search about her and, okay, let me know her about section in her LinkedIn profile so that she likes games. Okay, that is very good. So when we had the interview, and I had the interview, the first one, I passed it. Then the second one was her and another engineering lead. And they're like, oh, tell me about yourself. I said, okay, my name is this, I do this. In my free time, I love, I love playing games. and my favorite game is this. I was like, you like playing games? Like, yeah, I like playing games. And she's like, oh my God, I just used half of my salary to buy this video game, I'm playing it. And then the engineer was like, oh my God, you two play that game? Hey, yeah, okay. I think for the next 15 minutes, we're talking about games. I'm like, yeah, see? So that's games. Games helps a lot, when you're free, just gives you that boost to go back to work and just like, make you not to be burnt out. So I just do that. But I don't do that every time though. I just like maybe 10 minutes so I can go back to my work. As a very good hard worker. And you're like, that's very good. Like, probably when we get in, we're talking about games. And yes, guys, I passed that interview. And I passed that interview, but then something happened again, and that's where I got too comfortable, and that's why this is really important. In my next interview, it's more about now the competency, and there were two ladies. They were not looking, they were not smiling at all, and they were like, head of this, head of that. I'm like, okay, let me see. And I did not go back to research about them. Just okay, this is it. I was still relaxed. Okay, I've did this, I can do this now, just to smile and say I like games, right? So when they asked me, so what do you do? I was like, oh, I do this, and my free time, they were like, I just saw one elbows raised. I said, yeah. And then one of them now logged out, like her video was logged out, like, hey, well, I'll say something about, but they're not asking me lots of tough questions. I was like, okay. I won't lie, I was actually not answering them like the way they expect, and they were like, okay, we'll get back to you. But I didn't get that, I didn't pass it. And you see, when I got the mail, because it took them like 1 week to get back to me. Like before, I was taking like 2 days to get back to me. I learned something, and that is the power of knowing who your audience is. People are different. One interviewer is different from the other interviewer, and if you don't know them, if you don't know, okay, what question are they going to ask, what is their position in that company, you won't know how to answer the questions they're going to ask you. You might think, okay, you want to do the same trick with the other interviewer, but it won't work that way. And so that is something I learned. And I wish I prepared, because if I had prepared for that stage, the next stage was just like a 5-minute call with the founder. I don't know if I've gotten it, because probably asked me what's your cultural fit. I was like, oh, I like remote work, and this is it. Because I knew about the company, but I didn't know about my audience. So the next one is familiarize yourself with the virtual platform. Now, this is very, very important. And when it comes to remote interviews, and I think right now, most physical hybrid interviews, because I think everyone now does virtual interviews, and it's good to know what platform the interviewer is using to prepare beforehand. So there is Zoom, there's Google Meet, and there's this funny one I'm not supposed to use. It's very funny, it's very, very funny. And I think it's one, they use it in one, is it JP Morgan interview or so, but it's very funny, and you can easily not know how to use it. So with Zoom and Google Meet, right, there's a way you could change your background, there's a way you could, make your voice more louder, change your background and everything. So if you don't formalize yourself with the virtual platform, you might see yourself, logging in and out, not speaking well, not being confident in the platform. Then number 3, we have crafting, engaging, and concise response. And this is very important. This is where you use the STAR method. Now, I think I normally tell this to my client during our interview prep, and that is, no one has the time to hear long story about your life. They don't really, they want to hear specific answers to questions. And the first way to grab an interviewer's attention is that, tell me about yourself. Most people just say, hi, my name is Tolu, and I stay in Lagos, and I'm applying for this job. And they pause. They're like, okay, what else? Oh, that's all. And then, it has happened before, like, this is funny, but I've had people say this, like interviews. And then sometimes I try to be engaged, like, okay, so what do you do afterwards? So how do you get this job? Like, oh, this is it. They don't sound, ginger, like tell about yourself and everything. And that spoils the mood, even for the interviewer, because we don't understand that the next person is a human being too. Your interviewer are humans, like, it's just like your friend. She may have a bad day, and maybe something goes wrong, and she comes to an interview, you are frowning, you are doing like you are tired. Her hand is there. It's not as if she's not tired herself. She's trying to put on a smile so you two can feel comfortable, and you're giving them one answer. That just spoils the mood for them too. And then you might notice that they try to keep your questions very short, and then you see yourself after 10 minutes, your interview is over, and then you're wondering, okay, I did well, but obviously you didn't do well because they are obviously scoring you based on your answers. So how do you define that first question? Tell me about yourself. I think I normally have this formula that I use, PPF, or you can use another formula. So PPF formula means present, past, future. So I'll give an example of how I would define myself. I'm like, oh, hi. Thank you so much, Natasha, for being here. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Mary-Esther Anele, and I live in Lagos, Nigeria, though I've been working remotely across regions for like 2 years now. And also, preparation. So it's important for you to include keywords into your responses. What do I mean by keywords? Keywords in the job you're applying for. So if you're applying for sales, you might notice that in the job JD, and this is why it's important to read your job JD very well. In some job JD, you may see something like, she must know how to use HubSpot. She must know how to use this, how to use Excel, how to use data buy, how to use, Power BI, how to use data, all those things. So you need to include these keywords in your responses. So the next one is the power of compelling stories in interviews. So this is my favorite part. And, so something that Amanda said in her, she had this talk, it's about power of storytelling. And she told a story about how she read a book when she was 12 and she saw bacon. Is it bacon or bagel? Bagel. Yes, a bagel. And she was like, oh my God, like, I want to have a bagel. And she told her mom, I think when she traveled to US when she was 12, she told her mom that she must buy her a bagel. And when she bought it to her, she was disappointed because it was like a donut. And she was like, this thing that sounded so amazing is just simple donuts. And that's the power of storytelling. So storytelling transforms things, makes something little, normal, seem unique, seem extraordinary, seem, oh my God, this is so good. And then you're like, and then when that person goes back, like, wait though, that's that person just said. It's not just this thing. That person must be good with words, so I give her that. And that's the power of storytelling. And the reason why I love stories is because of, back to storytelling now, one of my interviews I had, and this was one, she reached out to me. That was early January, and I think it's an interview that changed my whole perspective, one of it that really made me build inclusively remote. And she said something. She was like, oh, I found your account with one of your LinkedIn posts you had. Like people had just like 2 likes, so very funny. And she's like, oh, I want to like interview, and we had an interview. And in the interview, she didn't ask me any other questions. The question she asked me was based on my first response. And my first response is, the first question she asked me was that, why do you like remote work? And, why remote work? And I told her about my story of remote work. I told her that there was a time I got 7 rejections, and it was a Sunday, and I didn't eat throughout that day. In fact, when I went to sleep, I woke up, I saw rejection again. I was like, hey, I got back to it. I saw rejection again. That I didn't eat throughout that day. And he's like, and she laughed because the way I said it was actually funny. She's like, oh, that is really sad. And then I told her about how hard it was, how hard it was to get remote jobs as an African, as a non-techie, as a black woman, not just a black woman, African in Nigeria on top again. And she's like, oh, that's so sad and everything. Although like it was sad, but then I told her, okay, but this doesn't stop me. I told her about my story. I was like, oh, that is so nice. Like we all just kept talking about remote work, and she's like, she really wants to, bridge that gap, bring more inclusive things, bring more inclusive people, hire more Africans. And all our talk that day was about how to, build inclusive, employment. We're just talking. I was like, that is good. That when you come in, I hope you do this. I'm like, yeah, I feel like we should do this. I was not even using the word we. Like, oh, that is true. We should actually do this. And yeah, I got that job right. I got it. So that's the power of storytelling. It creates an emotional connection with your interviewer. It grabs their attention and also ensures that it also ensures that it brings you out. It conveys your personality, your values, and problem-solving abilities. So let me just define the meaning of storytelling. So the power of storytelling in interviews is memorable. A compelling storytelling allows you to illustrate your experiences, like I said, challenges, achievements, triumph, and providing content to your skills and achievements. Okay. The mirror, match, and model technique. So like if you remember, I think this is something I was saying in the first one about how to prepare for an interview, how to mirror and match and model your interviewer. It's not about being a copycat. But I think the reason why I like this technique was because I was recently listening to a a a speech, a commencement speech by Vola David, and she said something about how when she was young she grew up poor, that she grew up poorer than poor, and she saw, and what made her become an actress was because one day she witnessed a black skinned woman in a play, and she started to like mirror that woman. Like when she got back home, her and her sisters did a play, and she did the same thing the woman did. And then when she slept that night, she dreamt, and she saw herself actually acting, actually being in a movie, and that gave her the passion and gave her the drive to kickstart that her journey. And that's the importance of the mirror match model. It's not saying, oh, you need to be rude, copy what your interviewer does. But it's about understanding your interviewer, knowing how they relate, how they talk. Okay, she sits this way, I can't sit that way. I sit this way. So it's more like, I think the scientists will call it the mirror neurons. So this science though, what this means is that, I'll give an example now. If you see someone, maybe you normally cross your leg, or normally roll your hair, and you see someone randomly rolling their hair, you will smile, won't you? So now, because your brain actually captures that thing. Oh, this is what I used to do, and then you just see yourself smiling. That's how it works in interview. So, okay, your interviewer is saying, oh, like I said, my child that said she likes playing games. I said I like playing games too. So that thing just captured, oh, she likes playing games. She starts to smile. That's how the mirror match technique is. It's a principle that gives you a strategic approach that involves aligning your behavior with the interviewer to establish rapport and connection. Involves mirroring your interviewer body language, tone of voice, and communication, giving them non-verbal clues and that can create a sense of familiarity, comfort, and fostering a positive impression. Magic goes beyond mirroring. It involves adapting to the overall energy and space of the conversation. So, like, energy now is important. Like I said before, how you come into an interview and you're frowning. Why are you frowning? When you had a bad day. So if you are frowning now, the interviewer will also be frowning at you. But if you smile, okay, how you see how they'll also be smiling too. And that's how the match works. You're matching the energy, you're setting the tone of the energy of the interview. And so if the interviewer is more formal and structured, adjust your communication style accordingly. So if the atmosphere is more relaxed and informal, so you need to also match that tone as well. So this is the same thing, like, even, okay, you're a friendly person. And maybe your interviewer is not being too friendly, she's being too formal. And then you're overly using, words like, this thing is very good. Those kind of like street words. And then they're like, why are you so informal? No, people take that into, why are you so informal? Why are you using these words? They kick you out, okay, this person is an unserious candidate. The model technique. Modeling involves selectively eliminating positive traits or behavior exhibited by the interview. If the interviewer demonstrates a particular quality or skill highly valued by the company, showcasing a similar attribute in your responses can give a sense of alignment and shared values. Now, this is very important. This is where listening skills is active. So, if you notice, right, sometimes in interviews, the interviewers start by talking about themselves, talking about the role that they're hiring for. And so they're like, oh, we want someone, we're currently hiring for a sales manager, and our company is kind of doing like sales right now. I want someone that can start the sales, bring in more. That actually think about what they want to look out in the candidate, giving that cue. Now, you already the likability factor in interviews. Oh my God, I love this very much. And the reason why I love this is because it happens a lot. And most people don't know that this thing is really important. They call it ojoro. I call it grace, actually. And the reason why is that you might go to an interview or might hear your friends that you know that, okay, you are better than them. Let's not sometimes see that happen. They're like, oh, she got the job. Like, you got the job. How? But me, now look at your CV. My CV is better than this person's CV. So luckily, we have key aspects of being likable. So how do you build that likability factor in interviews? Number one, positive attitude. Like I said, demonstrating enthusiasm and positivity can make you likable. A positive demeanor is contagious and contributes to a favorable perception. Step 2, authenticity. Being genuine and authentic allows your true personality to show, fostering trust and also shows that you are comfortable with who you are. Number 3, active listening. Active listening and responding thoughtfully to responses conveys that you value and respect the interviewer input. This in turn enhances your likability. Number 4, empathy. Understanding and showing empathy towards the needs and challenges of the company makes you more relatable and likable. Conquering the interview fears. So let's just skip. So you know how fear is. I think I define fear as false evidence that can never be real. And types of interview fear. The fear of the unknown. So you know when the reason why you're afraid is because you don't know what you're going to expect in the interview. And to tackle this fear, you need to research the company's value and culture, practice cupboard interview scenarios, and familiarize yourself with the virtual platform. Number 2, fear of judgment. Now, this also works with your personal appearances. And I'm going to explain this in the recent show. I don't know if you watch K-dramas, but there's this new show called Marry Your Husband. And in episode 4 of this drama, she recently changed her style and people started treating her differently. And the reason was people treat you how you appear to them. So even in a virtual interview, appear confident, dress well, put a smile on your face, pack your hair, wear your best clothes, and go into that interview. Number 3, fear of rejection. To overcome this fear, it's crucial to embrace rejection as an aspect of job search journey. So the reason people don't go into interview because they have past rejection. Oh my God, I've gotten rejected so much. I can't bear another rejection. So they're afraid. They don't want to try again. So it's important for you to seek feedback after interview, which becomes a valuable strategy, providing insight into areas of development. Number 4, fear of saying the wrong thing. So to tackle this, it's important for you to embrace pauses to gather your thoughts. So yes, sometimes we all stammer. So when you know that, okay, you want to say the wrong thing, pause, smile, and then continue. Pauses helps a lot in interviews. Okay, this is our last, the confidence boosting technique. And I'm going to just explain this technique in soup. And strategies to enhancing your confidence in interviews. Like I said before, positive self-talk, focus on strengths, body language, and visualization. I'm going to explain the positive self-talk and visualization, and then we'll let me go up in the morning and say, I'm a superstar. That's why you see in my newsletter, I always start with, hi, superstar. I always call myself a superstar because it helps a lot. And then visualization, you need to envision. See, you're already creating that scenario for you. And like I said, the world reacts, and the world reacts to what you think of. And I think that's our last thing. Okay, yeah. Q&A section. So, let me have any. Okay.